Yeah, thanks for attending my session. Today I'm going to give you a small overview about Android Auto. And I want to start with a scenario. So imagine you want to visit a friend, you're going to take your car, and you get into your car. The first thing you probably do is typing in his address and navigation, and maybe in your car without touch and whatever, so it's not very intuitive. Then before starting, you probably want to turn on your music, but man, you forgot your CDs, SD card, maybe your cable for your phone, and whatever. You just turn on the radio. You probably then start driving, and while you're driving, your car's ringing. So it's ringing and ringing, and you don't have a hands-free kit, can't do anything. And even if it starts ringing, you can't even answer with texting or something, because we all know driving and texting is pretty bad. And that's a really bad scenario. But I mean, it's just one out of hundreds, and I think it's kind of annoying. It's not really smart. But things are going to change. Things are going to change with Android Auto. Yeah, let's get it started. Yeah. So I'm not a big man of introductions and agendas, so here's mine. At first, I want to give you a brief overview what Android Auto is for the consumer and for the developer side. The second is some dev stuff. I mean, we're developers, so let's get some code. And the third is about some perspectives, some future scenarios, what could be in connected cars, and how can we make our cars even smarter. So first things first, introduction slide about me. I'm an Android developer for like 7 years now. Currently, I'm working for Groupon. I did some freelance stuff. And I really love cars, and I love Android. And I think Android Auto is a perfect topic for me, and I'm really excited what's coming up in the future. So as I'm working for Groupon, you probably know this company. So currently we're looking for some skilled engineers in the mobile area. So if you want to have a great job at a great company, we should have a talk. And yeah, as I said, I love cars. There's something that really grinds my gears, but it's really annoying. It's that every car manufacturer has its own system, its own smart system. And I think putting in all those stuff without touch controls, with a different UI, it's not very intuitive, and it really sucks. I mean, I have my smartphone with me every day, all day long, so why can't I just use my smartphone the way I want it? And that's something that's going to change in the future with Android Auto. And before we come to this topic, let's start with a small story. Years ago, I mean, really a decade ago, nearly, there was a company, and this company was called Android. And Google bought it, and since then we got our beautiful Android smartphones, and everyone was pretty happy about it. And years later, they gave us tablets, and people were even more happy and excited about it. And after that, I mean, you know what that came? We got like set-up boxes, TVs, notebooks. We even got smartwatches on our wrists. And now comes the next step. After years, finally, Android got hit by a car, literally. So it's something new what's coming up to us. But now we come to the real big question. What exactly is Android Auto? And Android Auto is not like being dressed up as an Android and driving in your car. I mean, that would be pretty funny, but it's not. So Android Auto is not a new platform. It's just an extension of the existing Android framework, so you can use all your features and all your apps you already know and love. And furthermore, because of that, it just needs a small extension to make your app extendable for Android Auto. Some people already did that. Unfortunately, only a few. So these apps are currently extended for Android Auto. The only problem is that there aren't so many cars out yet with Android Auto. I think there's this Hyundai Sonata 2015. They have Android Auto inbuilt with Apple CarPlay. And to extend your app for Android Auto, it's pretty simple. I'll come back to that later. And I think because there are only a few apps out there yet, it's really the time for us developers, to start developing for Android Auto. And that comes to the next question: what do I need to get started with Android Auto? Just pretty simple. As a consumer, you only need 3 things. You need your smartphone, lollipop and upwards, you need a cable, and you need a car. So you just connect them, you install the app for that, and everything works fine. So Okay, the smart clue on this one is you put on your phone into your car. So you got all your addresses, all your contacts, all your Facebook messages, you even got your music with you, and everything is processed on your phone. So your car and your infotainment system is just a front end for that. And the next point would be, okay, I don't have an Android Auto car, and I don't want to buy a new car, so do I have to? No, fortunately, you don't have to. There are some aftermarket devices you can buy. Currently, there are like 3 out there from Pioneer, ranging from 700 to 1.5K. You can just install them in nearly every car and have the Android Auto experience in your car. So, and to make Android Auto successful, to make it the next great big thing, this is Open Automotive Alliance. It consists of several car manufacturers, tech partners like NVIDIA and Intel, all backing up Google to support them doing Android Auto and making Android Auto the next big thing. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we're developers. Let's come to the developer stuff. At first, you want to download the Android Auto app from the Google Play. Looks like this. You just started, and when you started it, you can connect it to your car and use it as a consumer. But I mean, we're developers, so just enable the developer options first. In this header where these icons are, you just click them like 7 times, and you can enable developer options. I mean, we already know that clicking something a couple of times, that's the first step. A second step would be to get the simulators. Currently, there are 2 APIs out there, the messaging API and the music API. And to simulate those car behaviors, you need those APKs, those simulators. So you start with your SDK manager, your Android Studio, Eclipse, whatever, and download them, and download the simulators as you download your SDKs. After that, you can access those 2 APKs in this path and install them on your device or on your emulator or whatever. So that said, the next big question would be, okay, what's under the hood? What do I need to do to enable my Android Auto app? It's roughly like 2 lines. You start a new manifest saying, okay, I want to have my app extended for Android Auto. It's pretty simple. And this manifest entry refers to another XML file. And this XML file itself just describes what kind of APIs you want to use for your Android Auto app. In this case, it's Meteor. So that's nearly everything. You just have to then to support your new layouts and assets and stuff, but that's nothing. So, and as I said, there are currently 2 APIs out there. These are the 2 APIs. It's audio and messaging. So messaging is quite a little bit different from what we know, because when you're driving a car, you can't just type text or something. So it heavily relies on voice commands. It's just like a dialogue with your car. You're telling them, compose a message, that's my message, I want to send it and stuff. Furthermore, this messaging API relies heavily on broadcast receivers and interns. So it's pretty good designed, and I have an example in the next slide. And also, there's this audio API. It's just like a media browser that gives you a media session with your media service to browse your music, to enable it for Android Auto, and to design your own custom music player in your car. As I said, the messaging API, you will start by importing your support library to enable Android Auto messaging features, and then to have some broadcast receivers in your manifest. And to read and reply to messages, just about 2 interns. And that's nearly it. So it's pretty good designed. It's very the Android way, and it's pretty cool. Okay. Beside code, there's another really important key factor. It's design. I mean, okay, app design and UX design is pretty important for Android developers, sure. But we're talking about apps in your car. You don't want to distract your driver while he's driving. You want to have an intuitive UI. You want to have clear contrasts. You don't want them to do unnecessary stuff. So in this case, in these 3 screens, you can see that there are clear fonts, not so many buttons. Everything is very, very pure and very, clear with good contrast. So that's one of the key points. And the thing is, to ensure that you're following a good design, that you don't distract your drivers, there's something pretty new in Android Auto. It's the quality criteria. So this quality criteria is something like, I don't know, maybe you have already developed some iOS apps. It's like when you upload your app in the store, it takes a couple of days, 2 weeks until it gets checked. And we don't have that in Android yet. But in Android Auto, we will have something similar because security and awareness for your driver is pretty important. So if you upload your new release with your new Android Auto extension, it'll take days to maybe a couple of weeks until your app gets then published in the store. If it's not published, you get an email with the reasons what you have to improve on your app. And to have a peek overview what you can do, there are at the moment 2 catalogs from Google telling you what is important, what you should keep an eye on, and what you should do to make your app compatible to Android Auto. Okay, let's think of the future. I mean, it's all about a perspective, right? So currently, it's just 2 APIs. It's not much out there, not so many cars, devices, whatever. But time by time, it grows and grows. So let's think maybe of car infos. You could probably in the future access your car infos like wheel speed, tire pressure, oil temperature, and all the stuff, and compute that in your app. You could also do some connected car stuff. I don't know who of you knows Waze. It's a crowdsourcing navigation. And the more people use this app, the better it gets, because they're sharing informations to each other. Another point would be companion apps. You could check your car status via your smartphone and while you're home or stuff. Another key factor would be security. You could use the park sensors or maintenance intervals to remind your driver via your app. And at least ecology. I mean, especially in this case, you can think of gamification stuff. You can reward your driver if he's driving eco-friendly, if he has a good fuel consumption, or if he's driving safe. So it's fun for him to drive safe and eco-friendly. So that said, let's come to a small conclusion. As a consumer, Android Auto is nothing special, nothing new. It's just extending the existing Android platform. There are only a few cars and apps out there. As far as I know, Volkswagen wants to release a new model at the end of this year using Android Auto. Also, you can upgrade your car using aftermarket devices. And to use Android Auto, it's just about an app, a cable, and your car. And as a developer, it's nothing more. It's just that you need 2 lines of code, roughly. There are 2 APIs out yet. You really have to focus on a good, clear design, because elsewhere, and that's the next point, you get rejected because of this quality criteria. And that said, and especially when I started the presentation, we, as a developer, can be part of the future. We can change the way people are using their cars, using apps in their cars. So I think we all should be part of that. And as you now know what it takes to start with Android Auto, I want you to get out there, and start with Android Auto today. Thank you.